last thing you're going to do on this exercise is assign different materials to the objects here. So the materials are the colors again. You can assign different colors to different pieces that are selected. You can save your colors and assign them to other objects. Now the colors there, they can be manipulated further, like the materials. So materials can hold color information on them, but you can also assign textures and bump maps to these materials. So you'll want to definitely get used to creating new materials for selected objects so that you can manipulate them later on, like apply textures to them, which we will do later on. So in order to manipulate an object or apply anything to it, remember it has to be selected first. So once you select your object, alright, we do have to go to render if you want some of the rendering. If you want some of the options that go with materials, we switch the menu to rendering, and under there is light and shading. So you see from the list here we can assign a new material. We can also assign existing materials that we have on hand, or we can also check out the material attributes. If I click on this, the attribute editor will appear, showing me the current material that's been applied to this object here. So its default color, it's Lambert color. If I modify, actually every object has this Lambert material applied to it. So if I modify the color of the Lambert that's been assigned, you see it's going to modify everything here because every one of these objects has that default Lambert applied to it. Now, as I said, there's more than one way to do the same thing. You can either use the light and shading menu that is located underneath the rendering section here, or you can right click, which is probably the easiest way to go about assigning a new material. I'm going to just right click, cruise down over to assign new material. It's going to give me the dialog box here. And I believe for this one they want a blend assigned to it. Slightly shiny material, as you can see. The Lambert's a little bit dull. You can see a subtle shine on the material there. Okay, so I select that piece, and you may notice that the attribute editor here currently displaying my tabs. So if I want to go and modify the color of this material that I assigned, I can use these little tabs here. You see blend, the name of the item that was just applied to it, and here my attributes are available for me to change the color. You can also right click and go straight to material attributes, which will bring up the same menu. Let me go to channels so you can see that happen. Material attributes, there. Same thing, light and shading, material attributes. So it's important that you understand the multiple ways of navigating so you can find which one that works for you. Here I can name this too. I mean, name it whatever I want. Or roof, I guess, roof color, I don't know. And I guess they want you to kind of give it a beige kind of color or whatnot. I don't know. I'm not going to be real strict on the color. You can experiment and play with whichever colors that you like, whatever you think will work the best. I'll make it like a Smurf temple here. It's kind of grayish. There we go. Like I was saying, if you want to apply the material to another object, so if this is part of the roof, I'm going to select it, right click. Now I could assign a new material if I wanted to change the shading tone, but I'll just show you how you can assign an existing material. See, it says assign existing material, and it says roof color. Again, important thing to do is label your materials. Actually, I'm going to take that material, assign a new material, make that a blend as well. I guess I'll call it roof 2 or whatever. Roof 2, and make the color similar to what this one was, only slightly darker, maybe lighter. just so there's a subtle difference between the two. And there we go. So, gonna color the pillars the same color as the roof here. Switch to group mode here so I can select them. Right click over, assign existing material, just the roof color. And then for the base here, these two steps, just right click, assign existing material, and I'll use the roof 2 colors. Shading, I'm going to turn off wireframe on shaded so I can view it as it is. Well, that's pretty much the last step that you're going to do. Now at the end of every chapter they have this beyond the lesson segment, and they always tell you, you know, the real way to learn the program is to experiment. So like in this case here, beyond the lesson, so display objects in template mode, select objects in their component level using selection masks and all that good stuff. So they, you know, pretty much review everything that was covered here, and they tell you, you know, try something else out with this, experiment, create new shapes, create new materials, apply them to other objects, and just get used to all of the things that were covered throughout each chapter, because that's the only way you're going to get good at this. If you continue to use this, continue to use the software, continue to use these options, and becoming really aware of your surroundings. Oh yeah, that reminds me, I did forget to mention the section on templating. It's kind of like creating a wireframe or as a guide. So say I want to create a template out of a small section, like say the 2 roof pieces. I select the 2 roof pieces like that. And switch back to modeling. Under display, let's see, go to object display. You can see 2 options right here, template and untemplate. So if I click on template, see, we're given a wireframe view. Let me switch back to channels here. We're given a wireframe view of the object. Now in wireframe view or templated view, you'll be unable to select that object. So if you need anything to work as a guide, you can template an object so that it doesn't get in the way. Now if you do, however, want to bring that object back, you have to select it first, but as you can see here, you can't select that templated object. So what you'll have to do is, you can select, you see this little option right here that says select hierarchy by template. If we click on that, it'll give you the option to select the template again, and from there, once it's selected, you can go to display, object display, and untemplate. Now you can also select, if you just leave it in the regular mode, the select by hierarchy root mode, see, I'm unable to select it, but if you currently have your outliner selected, let's see, outliner, Windows, there we go. If you have if you have your outliner active, where's the roof? Here we go. If you have your outliners active, you can select templated objects, and from there display object untemplate, and it brings it right back. So that's pretty much it for this section here. This will be your end result. This isn't required, but I definitely recommend you working through this section if you're a little shaky or need a review of the tools, or if you're just starting with a program. This is an excellent place to get started before we move on to the next project, which will be the helmet. So see you in the next video.